What's up guys, welcome to my channel. Sorry for not uploading video for the last 3 months. I've been a little busy, but I'm back with some awesome project. I'm starting a series of building Spotify website with MERN stack. So let's take a quick overlook on what we're gonna be building. We're gonna be building this beautiful Spotify UI. You can search songs, playlist, and like songs, dislike songs, and add songs to our favorite playlist, and play songs from playlist, and remove songs from playlist. User can also create and edit playlist. You're gonna allow him to change name, description, and image. You're gonna save the image in free Firebase cloud. Obviously, user can play and pause song. And we're gonna also create admin UI. Here we can see all the users and edit user details and delete users and add new users. We can also add new songs and edit song details and delete songs and much more. Before we get started, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates. So without wasting time, let's get started. First we're gonna create Spotify folder and navigate into it. In this folder we create server folder. This will be our backend of our Spotify application. And we're going to initialize with npm. After initializing, we have to install some dependencies which we're going to use shortly. I believe all of you have at some time have used these packages. If you haven't, then don't worry. I'm going to show you how to use and what's their purpose. I will be back in a second after installing them. We are using Node.js to run the application, because it will automatically restart the app and the file changes in the directory are detected, and we have to create index.js file in root directory. Here we have to import .env module which allow us to separate secrets from source code, and after that we have to import express module which is lightweight backend web framework for Node.js. Express is a top level function exported from express module, and we're gonna call it and store in an app variable. And now we're gonna declare port variable. The value will be port available in environment, or it will be 8080. After that, app will be listening on port and console.log listening on port 8080 or any port value given in environment. Here we are using template editor because port value is dynamic. Save this file and create .env file. In this file we have to add database URL. I have created a free MongoDB account and free clustered with shared hosting. Click on connect and connect your application. Here write the password of database admin and name of your database. Copy this link, close and paste it here and save this file. In root directory, create db.js file. In this file we're going to import mongoose module, which is an object data modeling library for MongoDB and Node.js, and we're going to export this function. And here I'm using async function because we're going to handle API calls here. In order to connect to MongoDB database, we need connection params, which are use new URL parser to be true and use unified topology to be also true. Here in try catch block, I'm going to use mongoose.connect method to connect to our database. It needs two parameters, which is our database URL and connection params. If we are connected to database, I'm going to console.log connected to database successfully. If an error occurred, then I'm going to console.log could not connect to database. I'm going to save this file and open index.js file. Here import our db file. Const connection is equal to required ./db, and I'm going to call this function const connection and call this function. Remove const. Save this file. Let's check whether it's working or not. npm start. Yes, it's working fine. Here I am creating .vs Code folder, which is absolutely optional for you. I am adding this to format my code while I am saving file. If you want to format your code while saving, then you have to install Prettier extension in VS Code. Before we create our user model, we're gonna install JSON Web Token, joy password complexity. We're gonna use JSON Web Token to authenticate user, and joy password complexity to validate the data given by the user. After installing them, we're gonna create models folder in root directory. In this folder, we're gonna create user.js file. In this file, we're gonna import our mongoose module. After that, we're gonna import our JSON Web Token. Const jwt is equal to require JSON Web Token. After that, const joy is equal to require joy. Const password complexity is equal to require joy password complexity. And now we're going to create user schema. User schema is equal to new mongoose dot schema. Name should be type of string, required to be true. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I don't want to waste your time. Rename it to email. Every user should have unique email, so unique to be true, password should be string and required, gender should be string and required, month, date and year, like the songs. Type should be array of strings and default value should be empty array. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Playlist type will be same, default value also same. Is admin, type should be boolean, default value is false. After creating user schema, we're going to create user model. Const user is equal to mongoose dot model. It required two parameters, model name and model schema. And then I'm going to create a custom method to our user model to generate and return JSON Web Token. I'm naming it to generate a token. You can name it anything you want. It's just a name to your function. In this function, in order to generate JSON Web Token, we need to use sign method. It requires two parameters, payload and sign. In payload, I'm sending user ID and username and is admin. And second, our private key to our JSON Web Token, process.env.jwt private key, and it's optional, expires in 7 days, and we're gonna return our token. I haven't added private key, so let's go. JWT private key is equal to, and add your private key here and save this file. And after that, we're gonna write a function which will validate the data sent by user before sending it to database with the help of joy module. Const schema is equal to joy.object Name should be string and should be minimum characters of 5 and maximum characters of 10, and it should be required. Email joy.string.email.required. Password complexity dot required. Month joy.string dot required. I'm gonna copy this and paste it here. Here it should be date. It should be gender joy.string dot value. We're gonna allow only these values to be entered by the user: male, female, and non-binary. Dot required, and we're gonna return schema dot validate user, and we're gonna export user model and validate function. In models folder, we're gonna create song.js. In this file, we're gonna import mongoose module, and after that, we're gonna import joy module. Then we're gonna write song schema is equal to new mongoose dot schema. Name should be type of string and required to be true. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Then song artist and song URL, image URL, and duration of song. Then we're gonna write song model is equal to mongoose dot model. Name will be song and song schema, and we're gonna write validation function exactly like how we wrote in user model. In this function, const schema is equal to joy dot object name joy dot string dot required and artist joy dot string dot required. I'm going to copy this because all are same, and I'm going to paste it here. Song URL will be string and it should be required. Image URL should be required. Duration of song, it should be number, and I'm going to change it here also, number. And we're gonna return schema dot validate song. I'm changing type of duration back to the string because we are not doing any calculation on client side or in backend, so let it be string. And we're gonna export module dot exports equal to song model and validate function. In models folder, create playlist.js file. We're gonna write const mongoose is equal to require mongoose, and then const joy is equal to require joy. We're gonna be need type of object ID because we are saving ID of user in playlist schema. So schema.types.objectId, we're gonna create playlist schema here. Playlist schema is equal to new mongoose dot schema, name will be type string and required will be true. Then user ID is going to type object ID and reference will be user model and it will be required. Then description type will be string and we're gonna leave it to optional. And songs, it will be an array of string. Then default value will be an empty array. Image, it will be type of string because we are saving URL of image. And then we're gonna create playlist model is equal to mongoose dot model, name will be playlist and playlist schema. Then we're gonna create validate function to validate the data set by user to validate before sending to database. With the help of joy, playlist const schema is equal to joy dot object name joy dot string dot required, and we're gonna copy it and paste it here. User will be same, description will be not required, so we're gonna allow empty string, and songs will be array of strings, so items will be strings joy dot string. So we're gonna allow empty array and image will be string, so it is not required. Then we're gonna return schema dot validate playlist. Then we're gonna export module dot exports is equal to playlist model and validate function. Before we create signup route, we're gonna install decrypt, course and express async errors packages. I will explain what's their purpose and how to use them. Let's wait until it is installed. Create routes folder in root directory. In this folder, create users.js file, and in this file, write const router is equal to require express dot router and call this function. Then const at curly brackets equal to require models and users. From user model, let's import user, then validate function, then const decrypt is equal to require decrypt module. Decrypt is popular for hashing password. Module dot exports equal to router. Here let's add a comment, create user, router dot post, add a path URL, and here I'm using async function because we're gonna handle promises here. And const error is equal to validate request.body. We're gonna validate the data given by the user. If an error occurred, we're gonna return rest.status of 400 dot send and the message will be error dot details. First I'm making error and its message const user is equal to await user dot find one and with email request dot body dot email. We're gonna check whether the user with given email is already exist or not. If user exists, then we're gonna return request dot status 403 dot send. Message will be user with given email already exists. Const salt is equal to await bcrypt dot gen salt, and we're gonna convert this environment variable to number because it's by default string. So let's add salt in every file. Salt is equal to 10 and save this file. Const hash password. In order to hash password, we're gonna use bcrypt hash method. It requires two parameters, password and salt. Request.body.password and salt. So let's create a new user. Let new user is equal to await new user. And here I'm using spread operator to copy all elements in requested body, except password value will be hash password, and I'm going to save this and then. So let's set new user dot password to be undefined. It won't be changed in backend. It will be just undefined at this object only. So we don't need to send password in to the client side. So then rest dot status of 200 dot send, and data will be new user and message will be account created successfully, and save this file and close this file. And in index.js import const course is equal to require course. Let's import express async error package. This allows us to no longer to use try catch help. It takes care of async errors. And after that, app.use course, app.use express.json. Course middleware will give us freedom to call API requests from different port URLs. Const user routes is equal to require routes and users, and we're gonna use these routes here. App.use at this endpoint API/users, and we're gonna call user routes. In routes folder, create a .js file. This file, import router from express.router and const user is equal to require models from user model. We're gonna import user, and we're gonna import bcrypt from bcrypt module, and we're gonna export this router. Here we're gonna be using post request because post request is highly secure So we are using post request for authentication. First we're gonna check whether the user with the given email ID is already exist or not with the user.find1 method email request.body.email. If user does not exist, then we're gonna return rest.status of 400 .send and message will be invalid email or password. And then if user exists, then we're gonna proceed to validate password. Valid password is equal to wait bcrypt dot compare request.body dot password and user dot password, and we're gonna compare both password. If password is not valid, then we're gonna return restart status of 400 dot send and message will be invalid email or password. If both email and password are valid, then we're gonna generate JSON token. With generate a token method we have created in user model, and we're gonna call this function and it will generate JSON token and rest.status of 200 dot send, and the data will be token and message will be signing in, please wait, and we're gonna save this file. In index.js file we're gonna import auth routes is equal to require routes slash auth, and we're gonna use these routes app.use, and API endpoint will be API login and auth routes, and we're gonna save this file. So let's start Node application, and it's working fine. So let's test creating user. So API slash users, and in body I'm going to create a simple user. Name will be user1 and email will be user1@gmail.com and password I'm adding something randomly here, so we have to see whether the validation is working or not. And month will be June, date will be like 10, and here will be like 2000. So let's test this. You can see password should at least have one uppercase letter. So user 12345. Let's test now. It should have one symbol at least. So user @12345. Let's test. Gender is required. This validation is working fine. Gender will be true, and we have created successfully user. So save this route, and I'm going to name this login, and we're going to create collection of Spotify, create and save. And now we're going to test. I'm going to rename this to Signup. So now we're going to test login. Same post request here, API slash login in the request body from JSON and email. Let's add a random email and random password for check whether it's working or not. Invalid email or password. Okay, now add user @gmail.com, user1 @12345 and test invalid email. Okay, let's check again. So I will just copy from here email and paste it here, and password copy here and paste it here and test. You can see token has been sent, so both are working fine. So let's save this login. Let's see in database whether the user has created or not. In users, you can see password has been encrypted, and let's change this user to be admin. True, and update this file. Create middleware folder in root directory. In this folder, create a .js file, and here we're going to import JSON web token module. Then we're going to export this function module.exports. This is exactly the same function as we used in routes, but it has extra parameter next. Next is a function which called after calling this function. First we're going to check in request header, is there an XR token is available or not. If token is not available, then we're going to return rest.status 400.send message. Message will be access denied, no token provided. If token is provided, then we are going to verify with JWT verify method. It requires two parameters, JSON web token and product key. JWT private key, and then error valid token. We're gonna check if error occurred, then we're gonna return rest.status of 400.send. Message will be invalid token, else we're gonna request our user to be valid token, and we're gonna call next function. Save this file, close this file, and create admin.js file in middleware folder. In this file, I'm going to copy from that.js because everything is safe, so I'm going to copy it from here and paste it here. Everything is there. I'm going to validate whether token is available and verify, and if token is provided, then else. If valid token dot is admin is false, then we're gonna return rest.status of 403.send. Message will be you don't have access to this content. If not, then I'm going to run this function and save this file. Close this file and create valid object ID .js file, and in this file we're gonna import mongoose module and export this function request res and next. In this function, if mongoose dot types dot object id is valid to request dot parents dot id is false, then we're gonna return to its dot status of 4 dot send, and message will be invalid id. If id is valid, then we're gonna run next function. Let's configure user routes here. First, add get all users route, then router dot get on this path async request and res. In this function, users is equal to await user dot find method to get all the users, and we don't want to send password to the client, so I'm deselecting password and version. So after getting users, I'm gonna press dot status 200 dot send, data will be users. Import middlewares here. Const earth is equal to require from middleware. We're gonna import earth middleware, and then we're gonna import admin middleware, require middleware admin, and then we're gonna import valid object id equal middleware valid object id middleware. Then we're gonna use admin middleware here and get all users route, because this route is only authorized to admin. And then we're gonna add comment here, get user by id, and router dot get on this part parents will be id. We are adding valid object id and earth middleware because we need to validate id and user must be authenticated. Const user is equal to, let's add async here, async user dot find by id and request dot parents dot id. Okay, dot select, we are not going to send password to the user, and version this dot status of 200 dot send, data will be user. Okay, then we're gonna add comment here. Let's add comment, update user by id, router dot put id, and we're gonna validate object id with middleware and user must be authenticated. In this function here, const user is equal to await user dot find by id and update, and here we're gonna query user with the id, and in update we're gonna set using set here request dot body, so it will update automatically what's there in body, and we're gonna return new updated user, and we are not going to send password here also, and version. Then we're gonna return to the client rest dot status 200 dot send, data will be user, Okay, and then add a comment here, delete user by id router dot delete, and save. Parents will be id. This router is valid for only admin, so admin. Then after this function await user dot find by id and delete. We're going to use this method, so this will delete the user from database, and request.params.id. Okay, after the restart status of 200 dot send, message will be successfully deleted user. For sake of time, I have already added user routes here, and we no longer need to add every route here. So let's create a user, new user with user 2, and email will be user 2, and let's say, okay, let's create a user. Okay, as you can see, copy this user ID and save this route. Let's open user routes and get user by id, paste id here and send request. No token provided, so this user needs to authenticate. So let's log in with this user email and password. Login and copy this token here, save this route, and in headers add x token and value will be token, and send request. You can see we have get a user, and save this route. Let's update user with this id, and let's add a x token and paste token here, and in body we're gonna change username and user 1, user 3, and gender will be female. So let's copy id of user, in parents copy this id, and in parents paste here and send request. You can see we have updated gender and name of user. Save this route and get all users. This route is only for admin, authorized only for admin. So let's get token for this user. Go to login route and change email and password, send request, copy this token, copy, okay, copy this and save this route and paste it here. Let's send request. Yes, all users from database are here. Okay, save this route. Let's delete user. In parents header, let's add a token, x token, and paste token here. Let's add a parent id of user, copy from here and paste it here. Let's send request. We have successfully deleted user. Let's check get all users. Here you can see only one user is left. Okay, save this out. In routes folder, create songs.js file. In this file, let's import router from express module. Require express dot router and call this function. And then we're gonna import user from user model. From models folder, we're gonna import user file. Then we're gonna import song and validate function from song model, from models song file. Then we're gonna import auth middleware from middleware folder, auth file. Then we're gonna import admin middleware from middleware folder and admin. Then valid object id middleware from same middleware folder. Let's add song routes from here. Add a comment, create song, and we're gonna be adding post request here because we are creating song with this part. This is only for authorized to admin. Here we are using async function. In this function, const error is equal to, we're gonna use validate function to validate the data sent by admin. If an error occurred, then we're gonna return res.status of 400 dot send, and message will be array dot details, first element in array dot message. If data is valid, then we're gonna create song, await song dot request dot body, and we're gonna save. We're gonna return the song status to her 201 dot send, and data will be song, and message will be song created successfully. Okay, create route is completed. Let's add a comment here, get all songs, and it's gonna be get request in this path, async function, and in this function const songs is equal to await song dot find. This method return all the songs from database, and we're gonna return with the status of 200 dot send. Data will be songs, and then I'm gonna add another route here and update song router dot put, and we're gonna be taking id of song, so we're gonna be using valid object id and admin. Only an admin can edit a song. In this function, const song is equal to await song dot find by id and update. We're gonna query a song with the given id, and we will update with the data, and we're gonna return new updated song, and we're gonna return with the status code of 200 dot send, and data will be song, and message will be song updated successfully. Okay, then we're gonna add comment, and in this comment we're gonna delete song by id, router dot delete, and parents will be id. Let's add a middleware, valid object id and admin. It is also going to be async function. In this function, await song dot find by id and delete request dot params dot id, and we're gonna return with status code of 200 dot send, and message will be song deleted successfully. Let's add a comment here like song, and below this router dot put and /like/id, and we're gonna add middleware valid object id and with middleware, because authenticate user can only like the song. In this const song is equal to wait song dot find by id request dot parents dot id. We're gonna find a song. If song does not exist, then we're gonna return with the status of 400 dot send. Message will be song does not exist. If any song exists, we're gonna define user with given id. Here we are using at middleware, so we have already added request dot user dot id and const index. It's finding index of song in liked songs. User dot liked songs dot find index of song dot id. If an index is equal to -1, I mean if song does not exist, then we're gonna push this new song to the liked songs. Else, if song already exists in liked songs, then we're gonna remove it from this array. Splice index and one element. Let's add a REST message. Let REST message is equal to empty string. If a song is like, REST message is equal to added to your liked songs. If a song is deselected, REST message will be removed from your liked songs, and I'm gonna save the user, and we're gonna return with status of 200 dot send. Message will be REST message. Let's add a comment here. Get all liked songs, and it's gonna return all the liked songs of the user. Router dot get like. We're gonna add middleware auth because user needs to authenticate. So we're gonna be find launch user await user dot find by id, and we have added a middleware auth, so request dot user dot id const songs is equal to, we have an array of IDs liked songs, so we're gonna return an array of user dot liked songs. We're gonna return only songs with given IDs, and we're gonna return with status of 200 dot send, and data will be songs. And we're gonna export this router and save this file. Let's open index.js file. Here import our songs route equal to require import from routes folder and songs file. Let's use this routes app.use API/songs and song routes. Let's save this file. For time saving, I have already created requests and also added headers for all requests. So let's create a new song with the search, and artist will be NF, some.mp3, image will be some.jpg, duration will be 3. Let's send a request. We have created song successfully. Copy this ID, save this route. Let's get all songs. You can see we have got a song and update a song. Let's add a ID here and in body let's change image and duration. Send request. As you can see, we have updated successfully. Save this out. Let's test a like song request, and in params add song ID and send request. We have added our liked song. Get our liked songs. Send request. As you can see, our song is here. Let's remove song from here. We have removed song from liked songs. Check. You can see data is empty. Let's add again. Let's test and see it here. Let's delete song by ID. Add ID and send request. Song deleted successfully. Let's get all songs and request. In routes folder, create playlist.js file. In this file, we're gonna import router from express module, express, and we're gonna call router method, and then const curly brackets require dot models playlist, and we're gonna import playlist and validate function, then const curly brackets require models and song. I'm gonna import song, then const is equal to require models. I'm gonna import user file, and from user model we import user. Const path is equal to require middleware path, then const valid object id require from middleware valid object id file. Let's import joy from joy module and export this function. Module dot exports is equal to router. Let's add a comment here. Create playlist, and here we are using post request, and middleware will be up. And in this function, first we're gonna check whether the data given by the user is valid or not with the validate function. If an error occurred, then we're gonna return desktop status with 400 and send a message error.details, first element in error and its message. If an error does not exist, then you get a user with user.findById method with request.user.id. Let's create a playlist. Await playlist. Here I'm using spread operator to copy request.body, and I'm adding extra property to this object user and user ID. Let's save this. dot save, and then user dot playlist dot push. I'm adding this ID, this playlist ID into user playlist array, and save user, and we're gonna return with the response with status code of 201 dot send, and data will be playlist. Let's add a comment here. Edit playlist by ID, and router dot put on path edit slash on ID, an empty array, async function. Here we're gonna use valid object ID middleware to validate ID, and at middleware only authenticated user can only update playlist. We only allow user to edit name, description and image in playlist. So let's write schema to validate the data. Name will be string and it required. Description will also be string, and we're gonna allow empty string. Image will be string, and we allow empty string. Okay, let's const error validate the request.body. If an error occurred, then we're gonna return res.status of 400 and send a message error dot details, and its message. Okay. If error does not exist, then const playlist is equal to await playlist dot find by ID request dot params dot ID. Okay. If playlist does not exist, then we're gonna return res.status of 404 and send a message playlist does not exist. Then const user await user dot find by ID and request dot user dot ID. If user dot ID is equals to playlist dot user, we check whether the is the same user who have created this playlist. If not, then we're gonna return a response of 403 and send a message user don't have access to edit. If user is same, then we allow him to edit playlist dot name is equal to request dot body dot name playlist dot description request dot body dot description playlist dot image is equal to request dot body dot image wait, and we're gonna save playlist, and in response dot status send 200 and send message updated successfully. Let's add a song to playlist. Write a comment, add song to playlist. Here we're gonna use put request on path add song and middleware app and async function. This function const schema joy.object playlist id joy.string dot required and song id joy.string dot required. Okay, const error schema dot validate request dot body. If an error occurred, then we're gonna return response of 400 code and send message error dot details and its message. Let's get a user from database. Const user is equal to await user dot find by id and request dot user dot id and also get playlist. I think we will copy it from above route. Copy this line and let's paste it here. Okay, and request dot body dot playlist id. Okay, and I'm gonna copy and check whether he is the same user who had created this playlist or not. If not, then we're gonna send response don't have access to add song. If he is the same user who have created this playlist, then we're gonna allow him to add song. We check whether the song is already exist in playlist or not. If index returns -1, then we're gonna allow him to add song because it means song does not exist in array. So we push request.body.song id. If it's already exists, then we don't want to add it again. So we will save playlist dot save and this dot status of 200 and send a message and data of playlist, and message will be added to playlist. Let's add a comment here. Remove song from playlist and in below router dot put / remove song, add up middleware and async function. Let's add a same schema which we have wrote in add song. Copy it and paste it here. We're gonna validate the data sent by user and copy this code block and paste it here. We're gonna check whether he is the same user who have created this playlist. If not, then we're gonna change this measure to does not have access to remove and const index is equal to playlist dot songs dot index of request dot body dot song id, and we're gonna find index of song and remove it by splice method. Splice and index and one element. Okay, and we're gonna save playlist and return the response of status for 200 and send data playlist and message will be removed from playlist. Let's add a comment here. User favorites playlist. Favorite playlist is nothing but a playlist created by that user, and we're gonna return those playlists favorite, and we're gonna use middleware path and async function. Const user is equal to await user dot find by id request dot user dot id and const playlist await playlist dot find id, and we're gonna give a array of playlist IDs. Then we're gonna return a response of status code 200 and send the data of playlist. Okay, let's add a comment here. Comment get random playlist, which we're gonna show them in home page. Auto.get random path middleware async function. In this function, const playlist is equal to await playlist dot aggregate and we're gonna send them in array of objects and sample of size 10, and we're gonna return response status of 200 and send the data playlist. Let's add a comment here. Get playlist by id and router dot, and we can also send songs, so and songs router dot get, and parents will be playlist id, and we're gonna add valid object id and add middleware in async function. Const playlist is equal to await playlist dot find by id request dot parents dot id. If playlist does not exist, then we're gonna return rest dot status of 404 dot send message will be not found. If playlist exists, then const songs is equal to await songs dot find and IDs will be playlist dot songs. We will get only those songs which are available in playlist dot songs array, and we're gonna return them with status of 200. Data will be an object playlist and songs. Add dot here dot send. Okay. Let's add a comment here. Get all playlist router dot get and add a middleware in async function. Const playlist is equal to await playlist dot find. It returns playlist from database, and we're gonna return rest dot status 200 dot send. Data will be playlist. Okay. Let's add a comment here. Delete playlist by id, router dot delete, and params will be id, and valid object id, and at middleware async function const user is equal to await user dot find by id request dot user dot id, then const playlist is equal to await playlist dot find by id request dot params dot id, and we're gonna check whether he's the same user who have created this playlist. I'm going to copy this from here and paste it here and change the message to don't have access to delete. Const index, I'm gonna find playlist index dot index of request dot params dot id user dot playlist dot splice. We're gonna remove this playlist from array and save user. Then we're gonna remove playlist from database and we're gonna return a response of status 200 and send message remove from library. Okay, save this file. Open index.js file. Here we're going to import our playlist routes. Playlist routes is equal to require routes from playlist file. Let's use these routes. App dot use slash API playlist and playlist routes. Okay, save this file. Let's test playlist routes. First we're gonna test create playlist route. Here I have added headers, so let's add name here and user. Let's get a user ID and get all users. Copy this user ID and paste it here. Let's add by user 1 and send request. As you can see, we have successfully created playlist. Copy playlist ID and save this route. Let's update this playlist. Add params ID and let's add body and we're going to change this name and we're going to change description. Let's send. Updated successfully. Let's save this route. Add song to playlist. Playlist ID add. Let's get song ID. Get all songs. Copy song ID here and paste it here. Okay, we have successfully added song. Okay, save this route. And let's get playlist created by this user. As you can see, we got our playlist here. I have already created one before. And get playlist by ID. Okay, you can also see songs here with name, ID, artist name. Okay, save this route. Get random playlist. Okay, let's it's also working. Get all playlist. Okay, it's also working. Delete playlist. Paste playlist ID and send request. We have removed library and user playlist. You can see only one playlist left. Okay, save this route. Let's remove song from playlist. Playlist ID, get all playlist. Copy this playlist ID and paste it here. Let's add song. Okay, this playlist is empty. Let's add song and paste playlist ID. We have added song and let's remove song from playlist. Copy song ID, paste it here, same, and we have removed from playlist. In docs folder, create search.js file. This file we're gonna import const router is equal to require express router and call this method. Then we import song model. Then we're gonna import playlist model. Require models playlist. Import playlist. Const path require middleware file get slash adding auth middleware using function const search equal to request dot search if search is not equal to an empty string, then we're gonna perform search, else we're gonna return with status of 200. We send the data of empty object. If it's not empty string, then const song is equal to await songs.find. We're gonna return only those songs which include the words in search. With the help of regex operator, we're gonna query the songs and dollar options high. We're gonna limit this search to 10 and const playlist is equal to await playlist. I will copy it here and paste it here. Change playlist and they are same. Okay. Const result is equal to await object songs playlist and I'm gonna return this object status of 200 dot send data will be result. Let's save this file and open index.js file. Here we're gonna import our search route. Const search route is equal to require routes slash search. Let's use this search route. Here app.use slash API and search routes. Save this file. Let's test search route. In search query, add the let's test. You can see they got song and search today. As you can see, today's top songs. Okay, let's add search and song. Okay, save this route.